Hello and welcome to the SportsGrad podcast, your bite-sized guide to enter the sports industry. And joining me, as per usual, is the slick Reuben Williams. How are you, mate?
G'day, Ryan. I'm feeling fantastic. Thank you. A little bit lighter today. I got the feathers cut, so thank you for noticing, but otherwise doing well.
I need my feathers cut, I reckon. I'm due.
You are due. They're going in every direction.
Yeah, I had the idea of having a bit of longer on top and it's a bit nicer on the side, but it started overgrowing the ears, so I need to get that cleaned up.
We should test that. We should run a poll for the Instagram audience. What should Ryan do with his hair?
Well, we'll look forward to that later today. Let's get cracking because it's an awesome episode today. A man that I feel like I've seen on TV many, many a times through the years watching AFL. So let's get cracking in. I'm Ryan Walker. He is Reuben Williams. And we are two mates who met at Cricket Australia. And now we help people find their own dream job through this very podcast and our online community. If you want to follow us, head over to LinkedIn, or even better, if you want to connect with us and hundreds of others working in sport, jump into the SportsGrad community.
Now, Ryan, last week we ran into one of our members from the SportsGrad community. I was over at Tennis HQ in Melbourne, where Tennis Australia have their offices. Yep. And a guy came over to me whilst I'm sitting down with Ross LaRosa, one of the operations managers there, just having a chat.
Shout out to Ross.
And this guy comes over and says, "G'day, Reuben. Been a member of SportsGrad since the start of the year. Absolutely loving it. Thanks for what you're doing." And I was like, "What's your name?" He goes, "I'm Chris Burgess." Chris Burgess has just started at Tennis Australia as of a month ago. He got a job at the AFL at the start of the year. A month before he got the job at the AFL, he became a SportsGrad member. So Since joining in January, Chris has gone bang, dream job at the AFL, bang again, new dream job at Tennis Australia, and is hanging around in Melbourne. So the boy from Ballina has just landed on his feet in the sporting capital of the world. So well done to you, Chris. But if you are like Chris and you want to get your foot in the door of the sports industry, or if you like Tennis Australia and you want to hire some really good, high-quality people, then jump into the SportsGrad community. Head to www.sportsgrad.com.au/community to join.
The boy from Ballina. We love that.
Yeah.
Shout out to Chris, absolute superstar, dominating over at Tennis HQ. Now, Rubes, quick word from our good friends at Deakin. They wanted to let us know there's a golden decade of sport coming up, and I'm sure you're aware of that because your favourite team is the Socceroos and you love the Matildas as well. So you'd be very, very familiar that the FIFA World Cup is on its way. But there are many other tournaments coming to Australia, like the FIBA Women's Basketball World Cup, the Netball World Cup, ICC T20 World Cup, the Commonwealth Games, Olympic Games, the Paralympic Games, Rugby World Cup as well, and that is all in the next decade. So there's going to be a huge amount of growth for the sports industry, which is going to unlock thousands and thousands of jobs in Australia. So it's a huge time to get involved in sport. So if you are studying sport at Deakin, you are going to get those opportunities to be part of the golden decade. So check out Deakin's website today to get involved. We cannot recommend it enough. And Dom also went to Deakin as well, who's coming up right now. So great reason to get involved with Deakin.
Absolutely. Dom Tyson, another Deakin alumni, which is fantastic to hear. For those who don't know Dom was a professional footballer from 2013 to 2021. He played for the Melbourne Demons and the North Melbourne Football Club. He is also the founder of Clutch & Co. Golfing Apparel. And so Dom, the former professional athlete, came up with this idea for a golfing/lifestyle label for keen golfers after watching Adam Scott win the Masters in 2013. At the time, Ryan, he felt that there needed to be something available that was tasteful, versatile, and most importantly, affordable, so that him and his mates could get out on the course and have a hit looking good, which is the most important thing when you're playing golf. So something that would look good on the course, in the clubhouse, that you could swing and feel good in. And Dom has created exactly that. So we got him in today to chat all about how do you create a sports apparel business. And I love the detail he goes into. One thing to look forward to for those who are interested in e-commerce and starting a business is just the amount of detail that Dom shares with us from the early stages. What are the first things you got to do? What's the process to get your product out there? How do you design a product? All that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Dom just gives us all the dirt on what's involved at a grassroots level of that sort of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I loved how he spoke about how he's growing his brand through some different marketing techniques, and he'll share a little bit more about that. But if you have followed the Clutch & Co channels the last few days at least, you would see some different, influencer type methods to get the brand across. But it's cool just listening to him talk about the different ways he's marketing his product, and it's not always a one size fit all. It's you got to try a few different things. So it's great hearing him talk about them.
Not to mention billboards and magazine placements.
Yeah.
And speaking of magazine placements, one other thing to look forward to is the amount of lessons that Dom has learnt in his time too. So
yes.
One thing I love about Dom is how honest he is in telling his story, because there's been a lot of mistakes. A lot of things have gone well from him too, but he's very open about sharing about the things that didn't go quite so well. And you hear him say, that was a waste of time. I shouldn't have done this, shouldn't have done that. So if you want a really good few takeaways on what to do and some things to look out for as well, Dom is very open in sharing all the ins and outs. So you will learn very quickly what is worth your time and what is not worth your time after listening to Dom, because Dom has gone and done the hard yards for everyone.
Absolutely. Another thing I love was that he bought my quarter zip shirt with him as well. So the delivery time was slashed dramatically.
Special delivery.
And I will also add, he was in the GWS side as well.
Yes.
We forgot to mention at the start. So he's got some different perspectives on the industry. He's been up in Sydney, he's obviously been in Melbourne, and all culminating in Clutch & Co. So very interesting episode. So grab a pen, enjoy this chat with Dom Tyson. Dom, great to have you on the show, mate. Welcome.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, been a little while coming, but obviously under your nose here at the Commons, and good to jump on the show.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we want to dive into all things Clutch & Co and hear how you've built this e-commerce golf brand. But to start things off, tell us a bit about golf. I assume running an e-commerce golf brand, you'd be a handy golfer yourself?
Too bad. I'm getting a little bit better. We take a few luxuries here and there on a traditional work week where we sneak out on the course and have a round. But obviously it's content. You got to get out on the course to create content for social media. So it's still kind of work. But no, I do love playing. I'm addicted. In short, and it's a passion. So, and I'm competitive by nature, so I always want to get better. And I've got two brothers whose handicaps sort of hover around where I am. So obviously that's the big discussion always at family dinners. How'd you go? And even my mum's getting into it now. And it's a great. The reason I do love it so much is the social side, because you get to catch up with mates for 4 hours, and you can be still in a city but feel like you're not, surrounded by nature, green, and I love it for a lot of reasons.
Having the brothers would be a pretty motivating factor to want to get out there and improve every day.
Yeah, well, I guess they're probably used to me having a bit more of the sporting glory in the family, but it's anyone on their day. So my older brother probably plays the most. He really loves it, but he needs to be in form. He sort of gets in his own head a bit. And then my younger brother talks the whole time on the course. He's like the most social guy, does not shut up. So you got to be in a mood. If you're trying to just chill out and unwind a bit, don't play with him. But if you want to get up and about and really get loud on the course and just chat, you end up with a sore vocal cords after the day with him. But he loves it. He can get going as well.
Yeah, nice. What's your handicap?
I'm at about 14 at the moment. So I had a shoulder reco in my last few years of footy. So I didn't play for about 18 months there. And then I had a few other lower body injuries. So I wasn't really playing for about 2.5 years. And then I've probably been once a fortnight since I wrapped up full-time football.
Nice. Well, Ryan's just started a glorious TikTok account where the only content he posts is him on the golf course, and it's horrendous. I don't know if you've got a handicap yet, but
I'm hitting about 15 over on 9 holes at the moment.
Okay, so you're not even getting the full 18.
No,
but
we haven't graduated yet.
You're going to be in your new Clutch & Co, mate. So
exactly.
Obviously you've jumped on board and ordered. So I'm modelling the blue mail quarter zip that you've ordered, mate, and it's packaged up, ready for you to get on the course.
I saw you online, obviously, and it just looked It looked amazing. So I thought that'll suit me just fine.
Yeah. Well, yes, hopefully as we grow, I won't have to do all the modelling and the imagery. I can hand that over. But it's good. We've got a good little team on those photo shoots. Like, it's one of my best schoolmates is the photographer. My brother jumps in. His best mate, who's also one of my good mates, is like our lead model. And he's a footballer as well. He just does it as a favour to me. I don't pay him. I probably need to because I'm utilising his time a lot more now. But he's great. We just have a good, like, we sort of forget we're on shoot because it doesn't come naturally to any of us. But the shots sort of come out pretty well for an e-com presentation side of things, and they're good enough to throw on a website.
Yeah, well, when you're in an early stage of a business, you got to call on those sort of favours to get it going before you can start to do some of the heavier stuff.
Yeah, you're right, because like even those guys, we had a big launch night on Monday, and they're the first guys I messaged and said, look, I don't know how it's going to go, but we've got this big sort of marketing campaign coming together on Monday night. I'm going to order some Mexican, and we're going to have a few beers and hopefully watch the orders come in if you guys want to come in. And obviously, like, mate, would love to. So yeah, I sort of feel like I just want to bring him on board. I'm part of the journey is essentially what I'm trying to say there. And obviously this probably hasn't been like, I pay my photographer and my mate, but and yeah, the other guys, obviously my brother he just loves it. He just wants to get involved as much as he can.
It kind of sounds like Brownlow night. Coming over, we'll have some food and some drinks, and we'll watch the orders come in.
Yeah, it was. I was probably more invested in the orders than I ever was on a Brownlow night. But no, it went well. We were sort of, I guess we were just chatting off air before, but we utilised my football connections and sent out some promo packs, and part of it was to get them all posting on Instagram at the same time on the same night. So we'll sort of just saturate your Instagram feeds and just create noise essentially. And they all went the extra mile, and were tagging including the website link direct off their Insta stories, and they did all the little things for us, and their script and copy was exactly how we asked them. And we had really good traffic, and because the stuff I think is still relatively well priced. I think it is well priced and it's good in my opinion. So it sold. There was conversions.
Brian was very happy with the $50 for the quarters there.
Yeah.
I genuinely, because I saw the social stuff and I was like, oh shit, this is perfect. Because I literally wear what I'm wearing now on the golf course right now. I'm like, I need to level up if I'm going to improve in any sort of way. So you're right. The social stuff was awesome.
Yeah,
so it's good to call on those guys.
It was, because part of the strategy there was our footprint's strong in Victoria, Melbourne especially, and we need to grow our sales in other states of Australia. So I guess the best way to do that is we've gone to the guys up at Brisbane Lions, Port Adelaide, Freo, West Coast, where we don't have a big presence, and tapped into their following on Instagram, and obviously everyone's so invested in footy and it's a passion for the supporters. So you hope that there's a bit of crossover.
We might circle back to how it's all started to grow, but take us back to the early stages of it. How did it come together?
Oh yeah, just a hobby business when I was still playing footy and at uni. So I was doing a commerce degree at Deakin, and I guess to wind it right back, I guess once you start playing a bit of regular senior footy and you sort of work out your routine, you actually need that escape, just because it becomes a bit of a grind at times as well. So I was always loved going to uni, and then I sort of felt on top of that, like I'm sort of like an organised person by nature. So I was keen to take on the next challenge in a way. So gave it a crack, but I did underestimate the time resource required to give it the proper opportunity to grow. So it sort of sat idle until 2020 when we had the that March national-wide lockdown, and we saw a bit of a spike from the e-commerce transition from bricks and mortar, because people only could shop online when everything was closed down. So then from there, I thought there's a little bit of momentum gathering. I was finishing up uni. I had a couple of subjects left, so I had more time to pour into it. And then it was perfect timing, really, with my football AFL career coming to an end last year. It was at that just enough momentum and sales response where I could justify going full time. Like I thought, I'm going to give this a crack. I love it. Sort of felt like my little baby that's growing. So I wanted to give it a crack. And since September, October last year, I'm full time.
Fantastic. What year did you have the idea?
It was 2017. So there was a few other mates that had a crack at e-commerce, and my best mate from school, Nick Pearce, he'd be a good one to get on at some stage. He runs Homey, which is not-for-profit charity, but streetwear brand is how they generate some of their revenue. So he was strong in that side of things, and his partner, she runs a very successful gumboot business online. So she sort of acts as a strong mentor for me. And then even, guys like Jack Watts that had a crack at squash. So I sort of thought, I'll give it a crack. It's something I'm interested in learning. I was sort of studying, as I said, commerce. So there was a little bit of a business interest growing. And then golf as a passion, and then a bit of a family connection with my dad. He's got a history in distribution, manufacturing for some other brands, and he's in a bit of safety, utility footwear and apparel right now. So there was a little bit of a connection with some manufacturers overseas, which shortcutted a lot of the teething issues that I imagine when people have an idea to executing the idea, there's a lot of roadblocks. So I sort of had a little bit of assistance there to prevent those roadblocks sort of killing the momentum.
Well, do you think when you first had the idea, you thought this is what I'm going to do after footy? Like, did you think it was going to be a long-term thing, or was it more just like, I need a bit of a hobby, let's see what happens? Definitely
hobby. Like, I had no idea I could give it a crack full-time after footy. And then even when I started it, I still probably thought I had a lot longer left in footy than what it ended up being. Yeah. So I actually did an accounting major at part of my uni. So I probably was looking a bit more at the financial service side of things. And my strength's a little bit in those numbers. So I was sort of thinking that could be something I go down. And then even player management in the AFL space was always a little bit of an interest. And then...
Funnily enough, Steve Smith's player agent was an accountant before he went into player management. So accounting is a great background for it.
It definitely is, because Paul Connors, who he wasn't my manager, but his strength was he came from an accounting background. So a lot of the guys... on the contracts could utilise, you're obviously bouncing off your accountant fairly regularly.
It's a lot of like financial management.
It is, internal financial management. So, which is crossed over well into where I'm at with Clutch & Co, because I sort of, strong focus on margins and your numbers that you need to be able to grow and do all that. So, it's definitely overlapped.
Which is important, because I know we get caught up in the exciting marketing side of things, and sometimes the numbers they catch up with us occasionally.
Sometimes I wish I paid more attention in accounting class.
See, it's funny, like my probably personality traits, like I hate the marketing side of things, because I just don't feel in control. Like there's so many unknowns, and you can never really truly measure the return on investment. Whereas with a bit more of the internal financial, like I feel like I can control margins with purchase prices, RRPs. You can sort of have a little bit more influence on how they flow, but obviously learning a lot more of the marketing side of things. And I guess as you learn more, you feel a little less overwhelmed because you've got a better grasp on things.
So for those who have no idea about how e-commerce works, what are the first sort of steps you have to do to set up a business?
Yeah, you've got to trademark. I reckon. So you obviously got to buy your domain, which is how you get the URL for the website.
Funnily enough, ours expired the other day.
Yeah, you got to.
We had a nightmare.
5 years ago, we bought it. SportsGrad.com.au.
Yeah.
Expired. The whole thing shut down.
None of our emails were sending.
Did you get lucky, or did someone else buy it quickly and then now they're offering it back to you at a
No, we bought it back.
Good.
Someone actually commented on, like, we put a LinkedIn post about it, like, pretty funny, and someone commented on it like, shit, I should have bought
missed opportunity. This. I mean, I've got clutchandco.com.au and I get daily spam emails saying, do you want to buy clutchandco.com? That gets shortcutted straight to clutchandco.com.au. A bit confusing, but the numbers they ask for, like they're 5,000, 2,500, just no, I don't want to buy it for that. And then even the other thing is I've got a mate, I don't know him that well, but he bought a lot of, I didn't buy, he just got the Instagram handles for a lot of strong words that he thought would become brands one day. So this is 5 years ago. Yeah. I guess you could probably do it on TikTok now as the next thing, but he's made a fair bit of money on selling these names. Like they're just words, and brands have reached out to him, and he's made a bit of turnover on that.
Wow.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's crazy.
So you got the trademark, you got the domain. What else do you need?
Yeah, so obviously website development, that's important. Product obviously is huge. Like you got to have something to sell. So you got to sourcing, manufacturing, design. So you got to do all that. Then imagery, and then warehousing, fulfillment, social media accounts, build your database, email campaigns, things like that. So there's obviously all needs to come together. But early doors, getting it online is like I was just chatting to Cam Zerha for another I'm VFL, he's AFL. He just launched, he does cooking, and he's a really good cook, and he's got some, videos, but he's just done a website to show off his videos, but he's selling tote bags. So I was just chatting to him a bit there. He's like, putting them online. When's the best night to launch for e-commerce, and what can I do? And I was just having a look. So it's there's plenty to do.
Yeah.
When you I feel like apparel, and a lot of people always say like, oh, I can make t-shirts and sell them. And it's like, it's not that easy, right?
Yeah.
And for you, it'd obviously be a lot more complex, but like actually getting an idea and then putting it into action and actually finding someone who can produce it, like I'm sure that would have been like a mammoth process.
Yeah,
right?
I've had help at that sourcing level. But I mean, a lot of people, you can buy blanks from say AS Colour. Yeah. And then if you build a strong following community or you're a big profile, you can always just slap a logo on that blank and sell it. So that's the shortcut version. But we've gone in at the design level with sourcing. Majority comes from China. So we've used a few different manufacturers over there, maybe 7 or 8. And we tend to follow the fabric. So what we like is the fabric, and then they've got to have the capacity to do certain colours. Like we get the swatch colours, and then minimums. Obviously there's MOQs, so minimum order quantities. You've got to be able to meet. And when it's early days, there's obviously a lot of risk if you're backing yourself in to move the minimums. And then recently we actually had an inward contact come from Peru. So he reached out and said, look, we've serviced some of the other golf brands. These are the golf brands. Have a look. We can do some stuff. This is our history of what we've done before. You can sort of chop and change a bit from there. So that was a handy one because there was a bit of history. And there were smaller MOQs there, so that takes the risk out of it a little bit.
Peru, you could do golf ponchos or something.
Well, it's actually the home of Peruvian Pima cotton, so that's the cell there, like this really lightweight, soft cotton. Yeah, so his name's
How did
Paul.
you research that?
Well, his name's Paul, so he's just great on the emails. And then, as I said, there's some help I have at the design level. Like they're gurus. Like I'm not fully. That's not my skill set.
You're not a Peruvian cotton expert.
But she'll. She's just got an eye for detail, and she'll be able to liaise with him back and forth for the technical side of the design. And, I remember one day we got some samples, and it's for a polo, and the buttons of the polo. One of them was 1.3 centimeters spacing, and the other one was 1.1. And she eyed that off, and she said, "No, we've got to get that corrected. It's not spaced correctly." And I'm sort of going, "I would never have seen that."
Yeah, but, just glance at the buttons.
Yeah. Sorry. And then you probably have them down, show the chest off a bit. There's stuff like that she'll spot. That I would have skipped. And we haven't got it all right. Like we've learnt on the run a little bit. Like there's some quality control that comes into it at times as well.
Yeah, nice.
So when you're testing a new fabric or a new product, how much time does that take? And also, what's the cost involved before you can actually put a new product to market?
Yeah, there's a fair bit. The testing, there's I've forgotten off the top of my head, there's a standard that you've got to pass. It's like an Australian standard for apparel. So that all happens at the sourcing design level. It takes a little bit of time, but there's production samples, sizing samples, then the pre-bulk order procurement samples. So there's probably 3 or 4 that you see before you hit go. And then the turnaround, the lead times at the moment, just with freight blowing out, we're probably, if we hit go, we might be 5 to 6 months before it arrives in Australia. So there's
before the bulk order arrives?
Yeah.
Right.
So we've sort of got a sample that we're getting excited about. And we can't obviously sell until we haven't done any pre-order stuff, just because there's still a little bit of risk involved, I reckon, going pre-order if it doesn't arrive and it gets blown out. And you've told your customers at one date, and then, we probably, we want to grow that strong long-term relationship with our customers. So I think we nearly could go pre-order, but not quite yet.
What it's probably a bit of a round question, just thought about it. What's the argument for drop shipping compared to what you do?
Don't know. I've never entertained drop shipping. So I guess there's we use a third party warehousing, so it's connected to where my dad stores some of his stock for his footwear. So I'm lucky in that regard that there's once again a bit of a shortcut there. So it hasn't really been a problem solving issue that I've looked into at this point. So I wouldn't be able to answer that too much detail.
No, I reckon you just see create a drop shipping company.
I felt like that was pretty hot a little while ago, and it's fizzled a bit. But there's definitely been some people that made a bit of money on that.
And how does it work on the manufacturer side? Do they charge you for all the samples knowing that you're going to put in them, or do they give it to you for free knowing that this big bulk order is coming? How does that work?
Well, it just depends on how many samples you ask for. But No, generally, like they'll, if there's an expectation that if you've dealt with them before, like for the guy for Peru, I think we paid 50% terms up front before we got the bulk order, but the samples were free. Don't know all the ones with China. There's obviously a bill that comes at the end, but I don't individualise it down to the samples. Obviously,
it comes at accounting time.
Yeah. So, we've got our landing costs, like FOB and then landing costs, but I'll double check on the samples. Sometimes they're free, but if if it's a new manufacturer, sometimes you got to pay for them.
Yeah.
Nice.
Interesting. The whole space is completely foreign to me, so I've got no idea how it works.
Yeah. We were talking a little bit before around market research, and we're obviously doing a little bit right now, which is super exciting. But what have you sort of learnt about the golf consumer? Like, have you done any of that research before, or how did that go?
Yeah, we haven't done a heap. I've got subscriptions to some of the leading golf magazines, and they run some surveys on like where you buy your stuff, how much do you spend on average per year on apparel, equipment, things like that. So I sort of look into those a little bit. We get a little bit of analytical information on who we think we're selling to, but it's still a little bit of guesswork. Mm-hmm. Like we tend to target the younger generation because I think they've got more trust in e-commerce than maybe the plus 55-year-old who still maybe gets a bit overwhelmed with the navigation of a website, checkout process, trusting card, and
get into the shop.
If they've been scammed once, I don't think they probably don't come back forever again. Not scammed on our website, I mean on another website. So, and then what else do we do? So I feel like we're tapered fits in some of our designs. Like a part of our integration and strategy was to go with not that baggy, stripy golf clothing stuff. We wanted more, athletic fits and versatility in the design where like it wasn't just specific to golf. Like you could nearly go for a run as an active wear, or you could sneak down and get a coffee, walk the dog, stuff like there was more crossover into day-to-day stuff. So that's hopefully where we've engaged a bit of our audience.
That sounds like
customers.
a much more of a Melbourne-centric focus as opposed to like the American country club where you get just like old white dudes hanging around in those type of clothes you mentioned.
Yeah, like they're probably in like the big Under Armour t-shirts. So they've got a strong foothold over there. But we're sort of subtle in our designs. Like even our branding on a lot of items, it's not in your face like strong pop or contrast. We do a lot of tonal stuff, which is because we've got a golf logo as part of our branding. So if we've got a big golf logo on the breast that's got pop, then it's clearly a golf item. But if we just keep it subtle for some of these quarter zips, for example, like I run around these if warm up for footy training or run around the tan, throw one of these on in the morning. So it's there's still some versatility in it.
It looks super like nicely fitted. Like I remember I've been watching my old man go to golf since I was a toddler, and he just wear like your classic like 55-year-old bloke, baggy pants, like big shirt. That like looks like something that you'd want to play in.
Well, the one I reckon the old blokes love is the big short, like the short that just overhangs the knee, and it's nearly mid shin, and it's just if it's windy, like it's a parachute. So, like we did a short where it's like a little bit risky, but it was like a pre-knee cut, like pretty athletic and more of a younger guy, but it's gone well, and the young blokes like to show off that little quad muscle that I think it's called the VMO that sort of just pops over the knee, so they like to show that one off. But so there's a little, I mean obviously if they want a longer one they just buy the bigger size. So there's and then we put a lot of stretch fabrics, like elastane fabric through the design, so it's sort of tapered by nature, but then it can move with your body, so it doesn't hug or feel too tight.
Yeah, awesome.
I'm wondering, after you left footy and you started diving into e-commerce, whether you thought about what your days and weeks might look like in terms of, what lifestyle do you want after footy, and how does e-commerce help me achieve that? Yeah. Is that something that came to consideration when you were trying to choose what to do next?
Sort of like how would I map out my week sort of thing?
Yeah, like do I want to be spending all day 9 to 5 in an office, or do I want to be in a warehouse or overseas or doing something different? How did lifestyle kind of come into consideration when choosing the next path for you?
Yeah, it's interesting. I remember the day I was actually sort of had my final meeting with North where they sort of inform me if you've got a contract or not, and obviously I was no, and I knew that, like I was sort of had some foresight there, but I actually had a job interview that afternoon with an accounting firm, so I took it.
Wow.
Yeah, and just half an hour on Zoom, whatever it was. And, a little bit of follow-up where they're like, we'd love to offer you a 3-day-a-week internship or whatever it is, whatever they call it, apprenticeship, internship. Could you let us know? And I sort of sat on it and I thought, we just launched these new products for Clutch & Co in that September, October, and it had a good response. So I always fell back on, I just want to give this more time and see where I could take it full time, because I never felt like I could only really give it. I worked hard in that last year. I was still playing footy, where I was sort of up really early and, did stuff at night just to keep it moving. But obviously there's still time constraints there with being a full-time footballer. So yeah, there was still that offer. So I did have something to consider, I guess, as an alternative. But I'm glad. I'm really, really glad I gave it the time. And like looking back, I was actually thinking about it the other day. Like we've had a big week where I've sort of had to put a lot of hats on, and I've just been doing a lot of stuff at the warehouse this week to get the orders out. But life would have been a lot different if I probably pursued the 3 days a week with the accounting firm.
And what about if you could forecast 12, 24 months ahead of time from now, what does the ideal week look like for you?
No idea. I'm just hustling day to day at the moment. Like just follow leads, just keep online growing, design. I'm actually really enjoying the design process now. Like bringing out new items is a good little buzz. Don't know. What about footy? I'm still playing VFL, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do next year. I've sort of got a little bit of an offer to stick around, and they're telling me, we need to know soon. So that's. Yeah, not sure is the answer. I just really want to see this keep growing. Like I don't actually pay myself a wage or anything. So I'd love it to grow to where the point you still got cash flow, but you can also take a little bit of a salary out of it for yourself.
Yep. Do you enjoy the hustle? Like, do you
love
enjoy
it?
the, all day, every day?
Yeah, I love it. Like I'm not a gun seller.
Yeah. Like
I enjoy the back end. I'm a bit of a perfectionist by nature, so like I love getting everything presenting well on website and following. I love customer service. Like it's obviously hard to do, but I love the reward of good customer service. Like if we get product reviews that come through on the website, and I'm still handling every customer service email that comes in, like sizing issues, returns, all those little inward stuff. So I'm still handling all that. So I love still having that personal touch with everyone that I communicate with on the emails. And then, I feel like that's hustle too. Like that's just keeping it rolling.
Is there any particular role that you'd like to outsource next?
Yeah, marketing. we outsource our digital marketing to a mob. Like you pay a monthly fee, and they sort of handle like your Facebook ads and your social display ads, things like that. I just haven't been able to land the right marketing mix. Like we've done outdoor billboard. We've still got that. We've done print ads in those golf magazines. That was a waste of time. Blake pulled a number on me for pricing there, I reckon, too. So I'm scarred from that. And digital, we've done 2 or 3 different agencies, and they just like the onboarding. I don't have to name or anything, but the onboarding process is good. Like you feel like they're all in. They see the strategy and they're with you. And I've tended to go on the small agencies, but they're obviously looking to build their business at the same time, and they're already servicing other customers. And if your monthly budget doesn't really match other businesses they're already working with, you sort of get lost in the mess there. So we've actually gone with the bigger mob who like News Corp, and like they sort of control a lot of the ad space. So you sort of they've got a lot of resources. So I've sort of given them a go, thinking I'll try the really big one, even though I'm not spending anywhere near as much as a lot of their other clients, and just see if you feel like they're with you on the journey a bit more.
The billboard, and for those listening in Melbourne would be very familiar with Swan Street, but I remember I first saw that and I was like, that's Dom Tyson. Like, what's that? How did he get that?
We need to reskin that, because I think I'm in 2 of it out of the 4 photos on that billboard.
We need to get the blue mail.
Yeah, we need to get the new stuff on, and my mate Adam Tomlinson's on that, and I don't think I even asked him. I just stuck him up on there. I think his girlfriend, his fiance now, who actually works at Half Dome, which is right next door. So she sees him every day, and she's like, "Can you please reskin that?" And then it's actually reasonably well priced. Like I was sort of surprised at how I thought they'd cost an arm and a leg, but they're not too bad. And we might get another one. So maybe somewhere in Albert Park near that driving range. I like.
That's awesome.
Just around there. Stay in Melbourne for now.
Yeah, that's where a lot of Ryan's TikTok content comes out of.
Albert Park range there. Yeah,
bottom level. and
I think it's just,
Westgate Golf Club as well.
I think it's actually having a renovation.
Yeah,
it is. So.
You're climbing up a bit of scaffolding.
Yeah.
Maybe we need to look into a billboard.
Maybe.
Well, I can introduce you if you need to.
There's a lot.
Just not the golf magazine guy.
No. He sold me the dream where there was like a marketplace that they were attaching to the digital side of the mags. There's obviously print, but they still send the digital version out to the subscribers. Then he said we'll have click-throughs and backlinks to your ads that go to like their platform, and they'll take a commission off that. And he's like, we've got X, Y, and Z subscribers. If we do a 3 to 5% conversion rate off the amount of subscribers, promising, mate. But he looped in like, I had to pay like on top of the print ad, like a monthly to have, what do you call it, like a monthly subscription to have your products listed on that platform. Because I had all of them, not just the one that the ad was. And the subscription, I think we had 4 sales on that, and the subscriptions, I think you've quoted big numbers, and I was like, mate,
come on,
get me out of this? What did I sign the contract for? And I looked, and it was 6 months, and we're paying a couple of $1,000 inclusive of the ad per month just to have it listed, and we had 4 total sales. So that was
my god,
that was one of those ones where I gave him a big serve on the way out. Like, I'm a pretty nice guy, but I did give him wrote up this big email, and then I remember I called him because I was like, mate, what a disappointment, just disaster. I feel like you've completely under-delivered all this sort of stuff. And he's it's still growing, we'd love your support, stay on board.
Of course.
So I'll never do one with that mob again.
Yeah. Any other hard learnings?
Yeah. We had what else have we had? It's more just the time. Like at the start, we didn't have anyone doing customer service. So we're getting emails to the info@clutchandco.com email, which is our sort of base email one. And that's where all the order confirmations come through and all that. And we just didn't see some of the early emails where guys are like, I want to do a return, or can I help out? Or just all this stuff. They're still probably unread deep in there somewhere as well at the moment. That was one where we just forgot to do that, or just no one. Because I initially had my brother helping me, and I thought he was doing it. He thought I was doing it, so it just didn't get done. A couple of the designs, we probably, you just learn on the go a bit there. Like I was like, wasn't wrapped with that one, but we still took it to market. We've done a little bit of wholesale stuff. We've got one big customer that's really good for us, but then a lot of other, I was just telling you guys off air, like just a meeting before, that you come in really promising, and nothing materialises. So there's a lot of you got to chase a dead end a fair few times as well.
Yeah, we've certainly felt the ups and downs of starting a business as well. You're learning every single day.
Sometimes you just walk out of one, you're like, I'm not really sure why we caught up.
Yeah, there's even sometimes
it's always good-hearted and whatever, but you sometimes just like, that was just a waste.
Yeah, you never want to say waste, do you? But you just don't see how it's going to materialise. And then there's even some, I remember I've done some meetings with digital marketers. I've got no idea what they're talking about sometimes. Like all the staff, and I was like, mate, can you just put that in writing so I can assess it and just make sure I've absorbed it, because you've spun 15 things at me really quickly on a Zoom call. So wouldn't mind just saying that in an email if you can, mate.
Is the digital marketing side an area that you've had to learn the most in?
Yeah, because it's a changing landscape. So what worked maybe 5 months ago doesn't work. So when I first started, it was Facebook ads. But now they're getting a little bit stale. People probably don't use Facebook as like a shopping medium as much, and TikTok and all these other things are on board, and Google ads. So you got to make sure you're on there. And so it's almost like the formula. Like I don't have the exact formula. There's some other businesses that just nail it, and they get great return on ad spend, and they just keep increasing their budget because they know what they're getting back almost certainly. So I'm just never been able to find the right mix.
And the accountant inside you must be going crazy. Like there must be a formula. How do I find it?
Yeah, well the new mob, their big sell to me was you get a dashboard at the end of the month that literally has ad spend and conversion numbers and return on that ad spend, because they integrate into your website a little bit. So I was like, this is fantastic. I'll know if I spend $3,000 in digital ads, I'll get at least, you want to get a 2.5 to 3 ratio return on ad spend there. But we're 6 weeks in. haven't actually seen that dashboard yet. It must come in once a quarter, so I'll follow that up. But we've got a new set of ads, so I changed because we obviously launched these new quarter zips. We've been traditionally our best sellers, so I sort of stuffed them up because I said, they've done all the just ads. I said we need to flick those ones because I want to get the quarter zips out there. So in fairness to them, I think at the 3-week mark, I told them to kill all the ads, so they didn't really have much data. That's just how it played out.
Yeah. You mentioned end of your footy career, you sort of shifted into this relatively quickly. Are there any sort of major lessons you learnt through footy that have held you in really good stead now that you're in sort of business?
Yeah, there's heaps of footy. Like footy's just a whirlwind and plenty of ups and downs. So, you got to ride it pretty strongly. Not strongly, but you get exposed to a lot of things quickly in footy, and it's such a performance-based industry. So you essentially have like a performance review individually, like every Monday, which is how you played. You sit down with your line coach, and he's positive or negative, and there's some honesty in the conversations always. And then I reckon the big one though for me was being organised and the time, and because like you obviously training hard, 24/7 athlete and all that. So how do you bring in other things and manage time management? Is what I'm trying to say. So I was like doing other things. I love going to uni and then bringing on Clutch and Co. But honest conversations, footy, work ethic. I'd probably say those couple of things.
How do you manage your time?
Strong diary operator. Yeah, handwritten too. So,
handwritten?
Yeah, and I worked.
Nice.
Tommy Sheridan, who's a very good mate of mine, we're in at the Commons together, and he's the opposite of a diary. Like he's just wheeling and dealing and just free flowing and jumps. I'll do that. So I actually sent him those, the Google Meet stuff just to make sure we put him in his laptop if we've got stuff on together. But it's funny because he sort of goes, "Oh mate, geez, that diary looks. I need to get one of those. I need to get one of those." He never does though. So I'm pretty good with that stuff. Obviously every now and then something slips through the cracks, but generally. Fulfilling obligations I've committed to.
And is this like night before you pull your diary out or morning of, this is what I've got on today? How do you manage all that?
Just constant, just keep going. I plan out my day, probably a little bit night before, or just like what needs to get done as a priority, tick it off and then never think about it again if you don't have to.
Yep, nice.
Yeah.
And what about the, as far as honest conversations in football go, is that something that just kind of gets delivered to you and you kind of learn, wow, this is how people speak? Or do they say, hey, this is what you can expect, and if you want to give some feedback as well, this is the right way to go about it?
It's a good question. I've got one little story on that because I remember I did a week work experience actually with Piercy, my mate I mentioned before from Homey. He's a CEO there, and I said, can I tail you around for, it might have been 2 weeks, and I actually got a uni subject accredited for it, so it was definitely worthwhile as an extra. I enjoyed it nonetheless and learned plenty, but obviously getting the uni subject was helpful. I remember he had to just handle a bit of an internal HR issue, like nothing major at all. And I remember I tailed for that one. He let me sit in on that, and I just remember the conversation probably went for 40 minutes. I remember just thinking, geez, like if that was in the footy environment, that would have been handled in 40 seconds. I could just been way more, direct was probably the word. And I sort of said to him after, I was like, geez, mate, like a bit of back and forth there. He goes, no, that's just how you got to do it. So I remember that was like a little bit of a wake-up call for me, just being like, oh, no, you just got to, just maybe back it off a little bit. Not that I'm always the most direct or confrontational, but it's just more definitely an eye-opening moment for me.
Yeah, I'd imagine it'd be pretty direct on in footy meetings.
Well, it's this funny thing in footy.
There's vision as well.
There's this biggest out is, game day when it's hot and emotions are running high. You can just say whatever you want. Yeah. And always the fallback is, just follow up during the week though. Make sure you're on the same page during the week. But no one will follow. Like if someone gives you an absolute bath, like, you didn't first give to them and then you got tackled holding the ball and they got burnt and they're just roaring at you. I don't know if you can swear on this, I won't. But, they're just roaring at you direct. Like you should have given that. Selfish, all this. What you doing? I mean, you don't need to follow that up.
You're probably not following up.
You know that you should have given it. You got tackled. It's not. You don't have to sit down during the week and go, look, mate, just with that one, I know. You just nod and go, yeah, mate, gotcha. I'll give you the next one.
Yeah. Hey, mate, just that handball in the 20th minute of the
you don't need
to just chat about it.
Yeah. So that's probably the one. Or I remember one day in my early games, Chad Corns, who's a bit of a ruthless, intimidating guy. he got a free kick and I took his advantage, like the umpire play on. And I shouldn't have. Like, I was running into a bit of traffic and I think I just did like a bit of a bailout kick, like just not grubbed it, but just threw it high and went 40 metres down the line. And he just sprayed me for taking his advantage. I still remember that one. It was like against Geelong. I was I didn't hear the whistle, mate. I didn't hear the whistle. I heard the whistle and he was just, gave me a good bath that time.
Love that.
Yeah. So now that you're not like surrounded by coaches and you're kind of accountable to yourself, how do you go reviewing your own week or what you do?
I don't really do much of that. I just move forward. Like, I keep the foot on the pedal. It would be the short answer to that. Like, I'm not a big reflector at all. Like, I've sort of, like, I've done a bit of a podcast tour after footy, and that's the only time I really reflect on footy. Like, I'm still playing. I love the game day aspect and playing in the VFL. It's been a good change of speed for me, but I just keep moving forward.
Don't overthink it.
Yeah. I overthink of like social situations, but like a little bit of an overthinker there. But anything like business or footy related, like I'm more than happy to just keep it moving. I'm a bit more like task orientated, I'd say as well. So if I complete a task and feel satisfied I completed it, keep moving.
Keep going. Nice.
Yeah.
What about the structure of your life for those years you're in footy, and now that you're out of it, do you maintain a structure where, like, for those hours I'm going to be doing meetings, or for these hours I'm going to be doing this bit of work? Like, has it remained very structured, or have you just kind of thrown the book out and it's just you now?
A bit of both. Like, I remember sitting in like my last couple of years of footy, like I was a bit injured, I wasn't playing much, and the club was sort of going through a bit of a rebuild with the young list where I finished, and a lot of the meetings I just remember sitting there going, like, I've done this before, like this is a waste of my time right now. Like, obviously still had a contractual obligation to be there, and I was still trying very hard physically to get right. But I remember just going, what we're going over right now, like, it's just so repetitive for me. So like, I remember thinking, like, I would really love to be doing something else in this exact moment, in that split second. Obviously you bring yourself back and just buy in for that, just because that's what you got to do. But right now, no, it's not like Monday mornings I generally go to the warehouse, help get the orders out over the weekend. Afternoons I usually take like meetings, I reckon, because I like to do all the internal stuff in the mornings when you're a bit sharper potentially, and then the people side of things, it's generally like 2 p.m. onwards.
Yeah, nice.
It's probably the only structure though, but I'm pretty flexible. I guess that's the beauty of being accountable to yourself as your business. So like tomorrow, like I'll admit this, like I've had a really big week, and I've even had some late nights, like working really hard up until about 10:30 and up at 6, just getting it all sorted with footy training. I'm burning, I'm actually taking tomorrow arvo off, so I'm actually going to go play golf. So that's nice. Got a tea time there, so I'll take a bit of, what do they call it, a bit of self-care. So I'll do that. So I've actually got a customer service email bloke, so any chance I'll get my order before the weekend? And I've sort of half lied to him. I said, mate, we're doing everything we can, but you probably won't get it until early next week. Sorry, mate. He's like, I love the honesty. And I just, I was turning my guts a little bit going, am I doing everything I can if I'm out playing golf?
I think you genuinely are. Like, if you need that break, then you're right. You absolutely need it.
Yeah, that's right. And we've gone above and beyond this week, I think, to get like everything out. So we're nearly back up to date on the pending orders versus fulfilled. So we've gone the extra mile. Sorry to this one bloke that's reached out. I'll throw in a free pair of socks for you, mate, to safely offset that.
But it's so easy to think that, this one order is just one extra task they could be doing. But if you put that ahead of like your own well-being, well, that's a massive thing that's got much larger implications that will affect a lot of other orders potentially.
You're right. And
you kind of got to weigh it up.
Prioritise yourself, and it becomes a long-term habit, or you're just grinding. You probably fall into a bad habit. And I've replied to him on email pretty quickly, and sometimes that's enough, just the reply. No worries, mate. I can't wait to wear it early next week. Love it, mate. Great stuff. So
and you also probably feel much better knowing that if you get through today, you get to tomorrow, and you get to play golf tomorrow after.
Go hard today. So I was up, getting it all going today, and. Yeah, definitely. You work towards the little reward at the end of the week. But I've also I've got footy on Saturday. It was originally Sunday, so that's why I had this round booked in. So I don't usually like playing golf the day before a game of footy because my back gets a bit tired. And you're on your feet for obviously an extra 10 to 12 kilometres walking. So that's yeah, that's the one thing I was like, I could pull out, and, you know. But I'm in, I'm doing it. So hopefully play well.
Nice. How has playing footy gone with knowing you've got this business that's always on your mind? Because I know like I play country footy, very amateur stuff.
I've actually saw it. You've taken a hanger I saw on your Instagram, was it? Yeah.
Thank you for bringing that up.
And I think your caption was
shut up about it for about a month.
I think it was define a fluke or something like that. You've got the series of photos where you closed your eyes. But you got a bit of airtime there.
Oh, I was sitting on the ruckman's shoulders.
Yeah, it was great. I did see that.
We'll never know how much Mayo is putting.
Well, no, there's evidence. There's evidence, and I've never done that. So
I've never tried any other occasion. Anyway, that's not about that. But one thing I've noticed playing footy this year, like I wanted to keep in touch and play a bit of footy, but I'd be going to games thinking like, oh, what's happening with SportsGrad this week? Like my mind was just other places. Even last cricket season, I was like standing out in the field thinking, I'd love to, really want to get this guy out. But all I care about is what's happening next week in SportsGrad.
Yeah.
And I've started to notice that I don't know if I can keep doing this because my priority is just so in SportsGrad and it's not allowing me to do both either world. Is that something that you experience or?
No, so I reckon last year, obviously still being full-time football, you go to bed thinking still about football and how I can get better and what I need to do physically and, training track and, all that sort of stuff. So you go to bed with that as a strong awareness and then you'd enjoy Clutch & Co because that was your release. And like this year, because obviously just comparing both, like I go to bed stressing about work, thinking about all the jobs and tasks that need to be done. And then I actually really enjoy getting to footy because that's my physical release and you can still have that little bit of connection with your few mates down there, that little bit of banter that's the footy stuff that happens in the change room. So you still get that enjoyment. So that's how I'd still say it, like the actual training, 4 o'clock, just say you're on a little bit of a roll here at the Commons. The last thing I want to do is drive out to training. Like I just feel like, I still want to complete these things and I'm on a roll. Like I've got to interrupt that, get out to training. But for whatever reason, once I get to training, like it's almost like a different energy hits you and you're fully in and you just go, I can't wait to get out on the track and then lift a few weights. And, it's a bit late. I had to get used to doing the night sessions because I'd always train during the day with football. But I still like that as a release, definitely. Like that's why, I know that I probably should give it away because I'm getting a little bit older. I've had a lot of injuries, but I just can't fully commit to saying goodbye just yet. Like I'm just weighing up if I go around again for another year.
Yeah. Well, you clearly do a much better job of being able to compartmentalize your time and your energy as well, which seems to be working for you, which is great. So I could probably learn a bit from that, to be honest.
Maybe, yeah. So I still get frustrated with footy because you still, like I've got that perfectionist off. I felt like I was on and I still don't get the ball. I'm like, have a look, mate. Like I'm so open, but so I still there's still that. It's not always enjoyable. Like you still have your frustrations. Some days there is that absolutely can't be bothered training the night, but it's semi-professional, so there's not pressure. You just go out and play. It's all stripped back. They know that work and family is way more of a priority than it is when you're AFL listed. So I've actually just really enjoyed like stripping it all back, and it's felt like being back at under 18s again, where you're just playing and you got other stuff going on.
Yeah, nice.
Last question before we wrap up, but if you could go back to your younger self at the start of your e-commerce journey, what's one bit of advice you would give yourself?
Just go harder, go quicker, I reckon, because it sat idle because I just didn't prioritise it with other things and, reasons to that. I had other commitments, but probably, would have said go harder, go quicker, and you might be a little bit more advanced than where you are now. But it all happens for a reason. Like I wasn't probably ready for it, and I'm happy with where it's at now. So just be, I wish I gave it more time at the start just because I was still playing footy and you can probably capitalise on a little bit more of the profile that you've got at that time. But no, in saying that, I still wouldn't change to where it's positioned right now.
How old were you when you started it?
It's 23.
Yeah.
23.
We chatted with Ian Higgins from the Grade Cricketer podcast. Yeah. For those who don't know him, they've got a following of about 100,000 on Twitter. And he said exactly the same thing. Like, what would you do differently? He said, I'd start sooner, I'd go earlier. And I think he was about 25 when he started that. And they're going gangbusters now, but it's interesting talking to people who start to build up these businesses and projects that start going well, and all they wish is, I wish I'd done it sooner.
Yeah, it's interesting because, a lot of you obviously got to take your time and do things when you're ready, and you don't want to rush things. But I guess it's a contradictory thing to just go hard, go quick, because you learn quicker, I guess, don't you? And if it's just say it fizzled and didn't get any response, I guess you're in and out of it quicker. But then some people might have said you rushed it and didn't give it the time it needed. So I mean, there's no exact formula, but it was just more. I remember we had stock sitting there in the warehouse for a long time where there wasn't much movement, and I remember just thinking, if I could just dump this somewhere, get it off my hands, and I don't know. But then it was just that COVID, or that was a bad time for everyone around. It was sort of a good business time for me and I had more time because obviously footy, we got 5 or 6 weeks where you're just at home before training. So you had, your Monday to Fridays where you could literally get uni done and focus on Clutch & Co. So that was a pretty pivotal moment.
Nice, mate. Well, it's been absolutely awesome chatting. Thanks for coming in. It's been a long time coming. It's probably our fault. But seriously, it's been awesome just hearing the journey and hearing all about Clutch & Co. For those listening, just jump on the website, whether you're a complete and utter amateur like me who's hitting 15 over on 9 holes, or if you're an absolute superstar, visit Clutch & Co. It's bloody awesome, and I'm looking forward to wearing that shirt.
Awesome. I promise if you guys order, I'll get your orders out rather than play golf. And thanks for having me on, guys, and obviously we're in the same building, so we'll see each other around, I'm sure.
Alrighty, Rubes. Well, what a great episode with Dom. It's so cool to hear the behind-the-scenes stories about all that has happened to Clutch & Co. and how he's got it running. But what did you take away from that?
Yeah, fantastic listening, Ryan. I love talking with Dom and hearing about his business journey and comparing notes. I think one thing to take away from Dom is to lean on your network and ask for help when you don't know how to do something. Because I think it's quite it's arrogant almost to assume that you know everything when you're starting something for the first time. So those are the ones who get ahead are the ones who leave their ego aside and think, I need help with this. Who can I talk to? And Dom's doing that in all different pockets and learning a lot as a result of that. So no matter who you are or what you're doing, make sure you lean on your network and ask for help.
Yeah, 100%. I took away that, if you have an idea, there's never been a better time to start now. And he spoke about how he had this idea way back, whilst he was playing footy. And he just didn't really, obviously his number one priority was playing footy and trying to, have success that way. But I think if he had his time again, he would have put more effort in earlier. So I think just chuck your ideas in and have a go, because there's never a better time to start with those than now.
Absolutely. And then finally, one thing I took away from Dom was just to tell your story openly and honestly. Like, Dom didn't have to share half the things that he told us today, but it's really good to hear that, and it creates more talking points. It's just interesting discussion too. So I think if you're out there talking about what you're up to, be honest about it. Share the good parts, share the bad parts as well, because it creates conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have any other episode recommendations that people would enjoy in this space?
Yeah, well, if you like golf, go back and listen to Daniel Simons in episode 110. He's also a great episode if you want to listen to someone who teaches you how to write your resume. I think the title is literally How to Master Your Resume. So 110 for Daniel Simons. But if you want to hear another startup story, listen to the Rosterfy boys and how they built Rosterfy, and before Rosterfy, Event Workforce Group over a period of 10 years. So that is Bennett Merriman and Shannon Gove in episode 167.
Awesome. Well, connect with us on LinkedIn, plus be sure to jump into the SportsGrad community. We would love to chat with you in there. Head to our website at sportsgrad.com.au/community to join, or head to the link in our show notes. Also, if you love the show, we would love for you to rate the show 5 stars wherever you listen to your podcasts, subscribe on Apple, or follow on Spotify. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.